So Reconnect with Rockers today is a true reconnect because this is a gentleman who I consider a friend who I haven't seen in way too long. I think, all right, let me think back. 2019, you were in the studio with Miles for Alter Bridge. And then right after that, that was August of 2019. And then I saw you guys in concert September of 2019 at the PlayStation Theater in New York City. And it was an awesome show. And that seems like 10 years ago.
It does. It does.
Doesn't it though?
It does. I mean, that theater is such one of my favorite places to play. And it seems like I haven't been there in 5 years.
Yeah. And by the way, it is Mark Tremonti, or as people have been calling you on social media, Tremonster. Have you seen these Tremonster comments?
Oh gosh. I see him every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a funny one.
I like that. Well, it's so funny because I'll read sometimes I'll read about records coming out, reviews from what people have heard. And I love when people say like, it's the 5th solo record from Mark. And I never think of Tremonti as a solo project. I guess because you've come in, records in 2012 and 15, 16, 18. I mean, busy band. And you're always with Eric, Eric Friedman. And so I always think of you, Tremonti, as a band. Yeah. So how do you think of Tremonti? And does it bother you if you don't think of it as a band and you think of it as all yours? Does it bother you when people are constantly saying, it's Mark's solo album, it's Mark's solo album? Because the people that you've had in Tremonti have really been such a big part of the sound.
Yeah, I think it just started with it being my name, that people call it a solo band because it's my name. And I didn't want to have it be my name to begin with, but I think my brother convinced me. He's like, listen, you have Creed and Alter Bridge, just make it your name because you're going to start confusing people. You have too many bands, too many band names. It's just easier. People will know who you are by now just to do your band, have it be your name. And so that's why we did it. But yeah, Eric especially has been my right-hand man in the band. He's kind of my he's the guy I really trust to pull my walls down to play all my ideas for. Eric will sit there till 4 a.m. as I play him 9,000 ideas, and I'll sit and make notes on, okay, it's hard to be a writer in a bubble and think, I like this, but I don't know if other people will. When you see one of your buddies that's like, yeah, that's a great idea, and you're like, I thought it was, so he's that guy for me. And then he's great at making demos, so me and him will sit down, play these ideas, come up with arrangements for him, and he'll make these great demos. And he plays, he played bass on the first record and part of this record. And, he's definitely a vital part of this band. And the other guys, Garrett was with us for the first 4 records, and he's a great drummer. He's playing with Wolfie now. Mm-hmm. Now we have Ryan Bennett tracking his first time on this record. And Ryan's just such a nice guy, such a badass drummer. And we got Tanner, who just played for the very first time on this record, and has been touring with us for so long now, since Wolfie stepped away to do his thing, that it was just perfect timing to get him on this record. So, and they're all, everybody in this band is just so, we get along so well. There's a lot of bands out there that are in their first band, and there's one member in that band that's just drives everybody nuts. I don't have to deal with that in my bands. So, so it's, Alter Bridge, there's never been a fight, so I like to keep that track record with Tremonti.
Yeah. And Eric's such a funny guy too. Not only is he a mega talent, but he's just like a fun guy to have around. We've had him in the studio and stuff, and he's just a cool guy. He's fun on social media. By the way, the record is called Marching in Time. It is the 5th Tremonti record coming out on September 24th. I have not heard the whole thing yet. I've heard bits and pieces. First tune, If Not For You, started playing on WDHA a couple weeks ago when it was released. I mean, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say, wow. I was reading some comments from people. All right, let me look here. People always call you grossly underrated. But I don't think that that's true anymore, because I've heard you also now being called the top tier vocalist and currently the best guitar player in the world. That I've seen a few of those comments, and I'm not necessarily saying that I disagree. Let's talk a little bit about guitar, because I had Wolfgang in a couple weeks ago, And I also talked about this with someone else. I'm trying to think of who. Oh, Brad Gillis from Night Ranger did this with me. And we talked
Yep.
about how all of a sudden these guitar records this year, and you're a big part of that. Even Miles' record was a guitar record. We got a
Oh yeah.
Nancy Wilson solo record and a Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top record and, Wolf's record. There have been these great guitar records that have fueled us through, these crappy times. And I asked Wolf what he thought, what is the magic of that fabulous piece of wood that people, can pick up and play guitar. Sales were through the roof this year with people that have never thought of playing guitar, which really made me happy, for all those people, oh, rock is dead and blah, blah, blah. I've been hearing that since 1987, so what is it about the guitar, Mark? What was it about the guitar for you?
It's the most emotive instrument, I believe. You can kind of, you can sing with the guitar almost like, it's being a singer is probably the most satisfying thing when you're coming to try to be emotive with a song. But other than that, I think being a guitarist is a second thing, the second closest thing to be able to the human voice to be able to do. I think a saxophone is very, emotive as well. And it's also got this, it's got such versatility, the guitar. You can make it as heavy, as nasty as you want it. You can make it as pretty as you want it. There's so many, you can't plug a saxophone into, a million different effects pedals and amplifiers. I'm sure you can, but, with the guitar, it's just meant for that. It's meant to be this very versatile instrument, and everybody can fashion it to their own, styles. And to me, it's just been an obsession since I was young. First time I remember Jay Gall's band Love Stinks?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When it just breaks down to the guitar, and it's just the guitar. That stuff drove me nuts. I just wanted to play the guitar just from hearing I wanted to hear the guitar by itself without the band, just to hear it. And I just love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what, too? It looks a lot cooler. Nothing against the sax players. I love a good sax player, but this is the pose we all do. I mean, it's the pose that will never stop, and that's the guitar pose and the guitar face, those sometimes you don't quite get those with other instruments. So let's talk about If Not For You, your vocals, on the track and your vocals on the title track. Wow. I mean, just every record, your vocal performance just gets more seasoned and more emotive, as you said, and stronger. Talk about the pressure of being a singer and the balance of being a singer and always upping your game. You're always upping the game as a vocalist.
The singer thing to me is, it's so different than the guitar thing. With the guitar, I feel like I'm having, just like you explained, like having to up the game and having to keep up and having to improve. With the vocals, I just love singing. Singing has always been so much fun for me. If we're at a party and there's a karaoke thing going on, who's getting on stage next? I'm the next person.
Really? Singing. I don't picture you as the karaoke guy. You doing that?
I get on cruise ships and karaoke. I'll walk down cruise ships and people are like, "Hey, good set last night on the karaoke." And I don't sing, rock and roll. I'll sing other things. I'll sing, Night Shift by the Commodores, or different stuff. But
nice.
That being said, I think improving between albums is just a matter of just singing more and being. I think when I did the first record, I was nervous about having the troll or whoever say, he can't sing, and then once you I think once you do it, once you face your fears and you do it, you kind of let your own guards down, and then you just try to become a better singer and find your own voice and your own vocal techniques and singing as much as you can. And between these records, I sang probably more than I've ever sang. I sang a lot of Frank Sinatra in between these records. I'm just a fanatic of Sinatra these days. And I just do my best to try to, follow his lead and other singers and just try to incorporate that to what I do. And some people had said, it's funny, on this record, I'm trying not to be afraid of my lower register. A lot of times when you sing in your lower register, it sounds like you. you can't mask your personality. Like when you're singing high, you can do that, and you don't sound like yourself anymore. But when you're singing low, it sounds like you. So on this record, I wasn't going to be afraid of that, and I saw my brother's like, yeah, somebody said that the bridge of Marching in Time sounded like Sinatra. I'm like, great, because
Wow.
that's
And
my
it's a very exposing thing. You know, vocals are very exposing. It's definitely different than being behind an instrument. I want to talk about Marching in Time too. That song is just that's like this epic kind of jam. I was listening to it over the weekend and really got lost in the song and really got lost, especially in your vocal performance and the lyrics to that song. So talk a little bit about the inspiration, where that came from for you.
Yeah, well, the funny thing about that song is when I do guitar clinics on tour, I do a big portion of it is about songwriting, and I was teaching this class at the day of how I write songs and how I go about it, and I wrote that verse there at the. I write when I'm doing those things. I'm like, this is how I write, and if I write something, I'm like, pardon me, guys, let me record this idea real quick, and I still have the recording of me sitting there in front of the clinic writing the verse to Marching in Time. So the melody and the music, that is. And then when I had written the melody, the first thing that came out of my mouth was So Many Lives Marching in Time. And I don't know why I said that. Most of the time I have no idea why words will come out, but then I'll try to fashion a song around it. So to me, that then I found out my wife was pregnant during after we were off tour, when I was finishing the lyrics during this pandemic. And not just the pandemic, but just all the riots and all just the discord between everybody. It just seemed like the world was at one of the worst places I've seen it in as long as I could remember. And my wife's pregnant, and I'm having a child in this world that's kind of turned upside down at the moment. And so I tried to look at it as almost a father in the future, where the world's even a worse off place, trying to tell his children, don't let this world kind of corrupt you. Don't let it turn you into some cold creature like the rest of the world has become, kind of a thing. Yeah, it's just kind of the point of view from a father to a child in a world that's was kind of falling apart at the time.
And congratulations on the baby. You're
Thank
father
you.
of a little girl now. Father of a
Yeah.
little girl now. That was definitely good news. Some good news to
Yes.
see. And you talked about writing. Let's talk a little bit about writing. So you're at these guitar clinics, which, by the way, so many WDHA listeners reach out to me where their children have taken part in these things, or people have said, Mark met my son at the Starland Ballroom, brought him in, taught him some stuff. Like, you've been so generous with your time and talents for future generations of musicians. So when you are writing songs, how do you know where they go? Who gets them? How do you know the difference between what should be on an Alter Bridge record or what should be on a Tremonti record, or an idea that's going to end up on a Tremonti record that maybe this would be better served jamming with Eric on, or passing along to Miles? Where is the, because both bands are really drenched in heaviness and melody, both sounds. So how do you decide what fits where?
The only thing that won't work for Alter Bridge is the speed metal stuff that I have in the Tremonti stuff. I grew up playing speed metal, and if I start playing a riff with a horse gallop in it for Scott Phillips, he'll look at me and and just laugh. Since day one, they just won't do it. Like Brian Marshall, he likes Iron Maiden and stuff, but when it comes to like Slayer kind of stuff, they'll just tell me that's for the other band, kind of a thing. But also, if I write something that really speaks to me emotionally, and I don't feel like I can deliver it on a vocal, and it's more of an atmospheric, like Marching in Time was one of the rare songs that was a very atmospheric song that I wanted to take on myself, just because of the subject matter. But usually I would have taken a song like that and been like, Miles is going to be able to deliver on this much better than I would. All that space and his falsettos and he's one of the best singers on earth, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So in my mind, as a writer, it's always got to serve the song, whatever makes the song better. If I feel like Miles is going to make this song better vocally, it's definitely got to be an Alter Bridge song. If it's more of a, um, you know, metal thing that, I can just kind of scream through, then I'm going to take it on. But
As we'll call it, a Tremonster song. If it's more of a, if it's got more of the Tremonster vibe.
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, look, metal, metal and melody. I think that's the Tremonti sound. It's metal melody. So touring, we've got tour dates. So what is it like to get back out on the road in these crazy times? People are in their little touring bubbles. We've got a September 9th Starland Ballroom show with Seven Dust. You guys are going to be back with us in November for WDHA 40th, 40 something, we're calling it, anniversary show, which we're really, really looking forward to. So how is going to be getting back out on the road? How does that feel now in these very different touring times?
I mean, I think it's going to be awesome. I remember we, just a little while back, we got together for rehearsals for a couple of weeks to do we needed to film all these, like you see the Marching in Time video. That was us performing live, the If Not For You live video. We recorded like 17 songs live because we want to put out, I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag, but we eventually want to put out a big live performance thing. Live. We did it live, but it's not going to be live at the moment. But we got together in a studio and did it live. So in downtime like this, we want to get the most out of our time, or we can't go tour. So we recorded all this stuff. But I just remember thinking, when we were all warmed up and ready to do these things, like, how great would it be if we're getting on stage and doing a real show instead of just playing for a room full of, cameras. So I remember how excited I would have been back then when we rehearsed. I'm sure when we start rehearsing on the 24th, we're going to get right back in that mindset. And the very first show we do is going to be a huge festival. So imagine not doing a show in all this time and then all of a sudden you're playing, I don't know, 40,000, however many people are going to be at Rocklahoma.
Yeah.
So that'll be our first time on stage. So it'll be a rush.
Yeah. A lot of people have said it feels like going back out, for the first time again. I actually have spoken to some people that were like, wow, I actually felt really nervous before, walking out. I had like this weird, kind of feeling in my stomach because it's been a long time. It's been, for a lot of people, years, 17 months at a minimum for people being out touring on the road. And it's been a little crazy. So before I let you go, you're proud of Wolfgang. I remember you being in the studio with Eric on a Tremonti run for the last record. We were talking off air a little bit, and you were saying Wolfgang, he's going to surprise people with what he can do. And then back with Miles in 2019, you said the same thing to me. I actually had him in studio and told him, I've heard that this was coming, from Miles and Mark. So how do you feel about the record?
I couldn't be happier for him, and the record's awesome, and it's just put a big smile on my face when I heard it, and I see how people are reacting to it. It's just great, because Wolfgang's the nicest guy in the world, and he's had to deal with this last name, positive or negative. Positive because it's one of the greatest bands ever, but negative in a way where it's like, how can you not think of your father when you hear that name? So it's been a big step for him to get out there and to do it on his own, and he's done it in such a good way that and people are responding to it. I've not seen anything negative about it. I've seen everybody's fully get behind it, and I wanted to see what he'd be like as the front man, because he's always been with us kind of more of a a quiet guy on stage and rocking out, but never up on the mic and other than singing. And that's one of the toughest things. Even when we get back on the road, is getting that front man jargon down. Yeah. When you're communicating with the crowd, that's not something you can practice at home, and that's something that he it seemed like he stepped right into perfectly well from the footage that I've seen.
Yeah, and I think like his first couple of shows were like out with Guns N' Roses, which was crazy. Yeah. It was like, hi, welcome to the Ginormo Dome. You're on, and it's very different doing that when you're at the Ginormo Dome with Van Halen and you're part of the band, as opposed to being the guy that everybody's watching. I mean, this is the guy everybody's watching. So, he's a great person and just a monster talent. And bam, You were right. You were spot on. I'm so excited to hear the rest of the record. Marching in Time, what I've heard has blown my doors off. Just
Thank you.
tremendous. I mean, what else can be said about your playing? You are, I believe, one of the world's greatest guitar players right now.
Thank you so much.
Reinventing metal guitar with that great feel and tone. And there's only one Mark Tremonti, and now you're a killer vocalist. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And cannot wait to see you out on the road. We are so lucky in Jersey. We're getting 2 dates, my friends. September 9th, Starland Ballroom. Full details, WDHAFM.com. And Mark Tremonti, love, love, love you. Congratulations on the baby, on the new family member. How old is she now?
It's 5 months.
5 months old.
Yes.
You got a little girl now. Does it feel different?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, everybody's like, you'll never know what it's like until you have a little girl. But yeah, she's just so sweet. And yeah, it's definitely, I mean, I love my boys more than anything in the world. It's just a different vibe. You just want to take care of her.
Just think about it. You birthed a baby and a great new record.
Yeah.
The pandemic year has been good to you, Mark Tremonti.
Yeah, I got to make the most of your downtime.
Absolutely. And you certainly did. You certainly did. Thank you so much, my friend. I love you. You know that.
Thank you. Love you so much. See you.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Karis Lock Company, your full-service locksmith, and Dover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on Route 46 in Rockaway. Online at doverdodge.com.